Okay, it's been about 5 minutes, and I'm just kind of curious as to what you're thinking about or responding about right at this point. So I'm going to start over here. Sorry guys, it's on the left. What are some things that you are thinking about, or you like hearing, or you just want to make a comment about that you're hearing about?
I like the phrase, if you don't capture the heart of your child every day, someone else will. And I would even add something else will,
Sure.
whether it's the iPod, YouTube, video game, whatever. Something captures their attention, their heart.
I was curious if you had more, to expand more on that phrase, capture the heart of your child, what you mean when you say that.
Capture the heart of the child is based on the theory of bonding. And bonding is an emotional attachment. So if you were to take a look at what an emotional attachment is, an emotional attachment is an attraction in a relationship where you want to spend time together, or you want to have some kind of an interaction that is actually really healthy and productive for whoever is in that relationship. So this could go all the way from a certain kind of handshake that you have, that you guys just develop, like that one Trading Places, whatever that, what is that, the Twins movie? What is the name of that one? You all know that.
Parent Trap.
Parent Trap, yeah, the new Parent Trap has that very special handshake between the butler and one of the characters, which is their moment of bonding, all the way to clothing, t-shirts that you buy that you decide that you're going to wear, to watching a movie or playing a game or showing up at an event, or even emotionally investing in your kids by saying things that you notice about them that they're doing well. So one of the things that I think every parent can do to capture the heart of their child is to just acknowledge what they have already done well. You did this really, really well this week, or you did this really well today. And then if they go, oh, no, no, then just walk away. I call it a walk by compliment, because some kids don't want you to talk about them and they get really nervous, and so you just say, you did this really, really well, and then you just drop it and go on. You also can say, I'm proud of you when they do something really well, because a lot of parents don't say that to their boys. I'm really proud of you for doing that. You can say to your daughters, you just look really great today. Because the way in which girls look is really important, so to be complimented on just being themselves, the way that they respond, is really, really important from a parent standpoint. And what I would say also is the emotional tone that you have when you interact with them is really kind of important for them. So that would be capturing the hearts based on bonding. Friendship, basically. Yes, ma'am?
The oldest one in the room, I'm sure. I work with a generation of younger adults who grew up with the counting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I can tell you that follows over into the workplace, and they will push it to the limit, because when their parents said something, they had till 3 or 5 or whatever. So when an employer or a boss says something to some of these same people, they react the same way in the workplace.
Yeah. Yeah, which is very frustrating to get anything done.
Yes.
Because then you're kind of babysitting that moment with that person. Yeah, that's a good observation.
They're entitled to the count, because you can't tell them
Once.
that they've done to do it right now, because they didn't grow up believing that they had to do it right now.
Yeah. Over here, comments that you guys have made. Thank you. Those are great. Anything that you want to add that you like? If not, it's okay.
That's good stuff. Just gotta process it all.
That's okay. All right. Yes?
I have a question. We have 4 kids and they're like 5 and under, so.
Oh my goodness. Let me just stop. 4 kids, 5 and under.
Yeah, 5 and nothing.
Yeah, we had 3 kids, 4 and under. I remember those days. Yeah.
So a lot of times, especially the older two, they'll do something. It's like, okay, now can I have a piece of candy, or now can I have my iPad time, or whatever we use as reward system. And my fear is that they're just gonna live for that. You know, so a lot of times I say, you don't get one. And so I try to give them a reward for those things that are unexpectedly done correct, and not for those things that are expected to be done correctly. Does that make sense? Is there any other way that I could prevent them just living for that next reward? Does that make sense?
It does. And this is my thinking phase. I warned people. Were you here last night?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my thinking phase. That's a really good question. I'm trying to go back in my head what we did. The problem with the whole reward-based is that when children are really young, they will do things for that because they see it as a means of acquiring something. But the problem is that it doesn't last in kids. And so it's an intermittent way or a way to kind of kickstart something. And what I would say to you is that complimenting them or celebrating with them on being responsible or demonstrating something is really good. And the way that I like to say it is to them is that you should be really happy with yourself right now. Don't say mommy's happy with you, because then you teach them how mommy wouldn't be happy. So if they get mad at you, they could just do the opposite. So you just say, you should really be happy with yourself. Look at what you have done. You have done that really, really well. And then you fist bump them or you do something in some way. One of the most effective ways that I worked at a children's home for a number of years, Cookson Hills for 9 years, which I didn't really mention because working with really crazy kids was something that we did. We actually gave out little coupons to spend time with the house parents. So you could actually give out a little coupon for really good behavior that's for 10 or 15 minutes with mom at some point in time where they get to determine what they want to do, which would be reading a book or playing Legos or watching a show or something like that, to where you could actually reward them with yourself, which would be really kind of a nice way to get around some of those trinket sorts of rewards, if you will. And then I think what you could do is, sometimes when I worked in grad school, we would have preschoolers make a list of what they wanted to accomplish during the day. It's kind of a higher order activity. And they could check their list, and then they could check off what they did. So for your 4- and 5-year-old children that are at home, you could actually work with them to say, you know, today is the day that you could try something or watch something. What is it that you would like to do today? And when they get it done, they say, Mommy, Mommy, I got it done. Then you walk over and say, well, let's just cross that off. Doesn't that feel really good to get that done? Now, what else would you like to do? You can add something or take something off. And what you're teaching them is this level of my day really does, in some sense, belong to me and my own choices so that I could get certain things accomplished. And you could even talk with them about you putting something on that list if they would be interested in doing it, which could be a new activity or it could be getting something done in some way. And again, the reward is in getting it done and sharing that moment of accomplishment in some fashion. Now, to just break all of that, one of the things that we did is that we paid our children to read the Bible when they were just learning how to read. And we would pay them $0.10 a chapter out of a regular Bible. I mean, when they got the New International Version or something, and they could read it. Or you could get a early reader's Bible. And then, no, it was a quarter chapter and $0.10 a psalm, except Psalm 119, and that was 40 cents. That one was really big. And they would say, I really want to make some money. So we would let them pick out rocks from the yard, $0.01 a rock or something like that. Or read your Bible. You get more bang for your bucks by reading your Bible. We didn't keep that longer than probably a couple of years for them, but they read, 2 of them read a significant portion of the Bible, and we probably spent less than $30 in that time period total to get them acquainted with some of those stories and all of that. So if you were to build something that could be really beneficial for them to, you know, Vanna, my wife's a school teacher, they used to do marbles. In a marble jar, and when you get a certain number of marbles, you have a party. So if your kids are doing things, you could throw a marble in something, and when they get a certain number, you just celebrate the fact that your family is cooperating and getting along. So on that really young level, those kinds of things tend to work a little bit better. And that way you're not rewarding every single activity. Now, some people will say don't take the marbles out of the jar when they misbehave, which I would tend to say don't take the marbles out of the jar. Some people will say, you know, show them the consequences, but I would like to show them consequences some other way. And I would just simply say, you won't be able to put any marbles in the jar today. Because they'd be like, but I want to put marbles in, because 100 marbles means, you know, we have a pizza party. Well, you're going to have a pizza party anyway for lunch. You're just going to make it a pizza party for kids, and you're going to, you know, do something special, and you're going to get certain plates, or you're going to eat off napkins. you know, I don't know, eat off the floor like dogs. I mean, you'll do something crazy that they'll love to do. And they can kind of plan it out. You know, 100 marbles means we, as kids, get a chance to do something. And then you get to put the marbles in. Now, the thing is really sneaky kids will sneak marbles in there. So you need to have it, you know, in a place where, you know, if you're not looking, your kids can't do that. And actually, they would count the marbles pretty regularly. They keep track of them and know how many more they had to do. So, you know, with a family like that, you might want to start it out with 20 marbles or something. You know, you don't have to 100. I mean, 30 kids, actually probably 22 kids and 100 marbles goes, you know, within a couple of weeks. So, but Vanna would just say that was really good. Here's a marble, and it's like, yes, we're one more thing toward a pizza party. So stuff like that really does help them a lot. And what you're doing is reinforcing really positive things that's easy for you to do without them thinking that I do one thing good and I get something good for that. It's sort of like, because we are this kind of a family, and because we can behave this way, we can have something special like this. So whatever you work with really young kids, is that you make it special by the emotions surrounding the event and one or two extra things, but it's pretty much a regular kind of a fun experience that you would have. And they'll think it's the coolest thing in the world. I mean, you can even put it on Facebook, take pictures of it, really make it an event, and they'll love it in that way. You can use the same thing for your elementary school kids, but it's a bigger deal. You know, whether it's, you know, selling money at a garage sale, and we're going to be doing something or getting something, is that you can use that same principle and everyone can work for that goal if you want it. But it has to be attainable and reasonable in a time frame. Cool. Any other great questions? All right. Yes?
I was just going to say, one thing as our kids got older,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not saying a lot older, but we tried to teach them the difference of there's a reward or this is expected because
Sure.
you're part of the family.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, you eventually change it to, this is just what we do. And there's some listings in here about that. Is that a responsible family and responsible kids just do certain kinds of things. And that's where the Buckland family just does this because it's what we do. But when you're a little kid, you need to help them and work on that. But somewhere in the elementary school, somewhere around age 7, that begins to shift because there's a cognitive thinking shift with kids. We're not going to spend a lot of time doing this, but page number 4 and 5 has some things for you to think about as you want to work on particular areas in your own family life, which is going to be really important for you to look on. Page number 6, I want to tell you how to get irresponsible kids. If you look on the top of page number 6, you can see that it says 4 major elements must be blended together in order to enable children to develop responsible behavior. All 4 elements are essential. And so you've now got attitude, knowledge, practice, and feedback equals responsible behavior. So what you're trying to do is help kids really know, am I working on this? Is this really working for me? Are you noticing this? Now, the thing that I really remember when I was growing up is if I did something really good or worked really hard at it and there was no recognition for it, that was a real bummer. Or if we still got in trouble because maybe 1 or 2 of the brothers, I grew up in a family of 4, and 1 or 2 of the brothers weren't doing their jobs. And I mean, most of my jobs were outside, which I loved doing, like cleaning the swimming pool. We had a swimming pool, that was fun. Mowing the lawn, loved mowing the lawn, loved being outside, people leave me alone. You know, kind of working on stuff with that. I loved doing that. And so I would get my jobs done, but maybe a couple of my other brothers weren't. And my dad would come home, we'd sit around at the dinner table, and then all my parents would do would be complain that we didn't get anything done. And that really bothered me. Just really bothered me because I thought, oh, over here, responsible behavior. You know, swimming pool's clean, and I swam in it, it was really fun. You know, and it didn't matter because the dishes were piled up or, you know, something had happened in some other way. So what you're looking at is each individual kid, each individual child has attitude, knowledge, practice, and feedback. Notice underneath here it says that the crucial attribute is attitude. And you all know that that's true. If your attitude goes down, everything falls apart. So you look at irresponsible behavior. When a child develops irresponsible behavior, 4 adult behaviors will reinforce the inappropriateness. Number 1, vagueness. What do you really want me to do? There really can be a confusion that students have, children have, about what you expect. And you can even explain it 5 times and they still don't get it. And then all of a sudden they go, oh, that's what you wanted. So you need really a lot of patience to work with your kids so that they really do grasp at what this is. And if they're doing a job for the first time, just expect it to be not up to standard. And so you just have to work with that. Number 2 is hovering over children. These are helicopter parents or the smother mother. So if mom and dad just hang over them all the time, fix things, make sure that it's all okay, children learn how to be lazy and they let mom and dad do the work for them. 3, rescuing your children by making excuses for them. My wife is a 4th grade teacher. We won't go into all the excuses she's heard this year for bad behavior. Well, my kid didn't understand it. You didn't explain it well enough. I never saw the paper. You know, oh, Johnny's just having a really hard time. Oh, ran out of ADHD medicine this week. Oh, forget it. You know, we told our kids this. You get in trouble with a teacher, you get in trouble when you're at home. Because I don't care. I don't care what's going on. Is that we have a standard of behavior for you that supersedes all other standards. It is always there and it is non-negotiable. So if you mess something up, then what will happen is that you'll have to clean it up with us. And you'll have to also clean it up with them. But you are not allowed to behave poorly, ever, 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 for anybody else. There is no excuse for that whatsoever. You'll be in double trouble if you do that for us. Now, most parents don't do that anymore. They drop their kids off at the door and they say, he's your problem. Don't come and get me. And it's like, that is the greatest way to develop irresponsible behavior. Because once a kid knows that mom and dad have said, I don't really care, then they will just do whatever they want to do. And so a lot of kids hide behind the hovering or the excuses of their own parents. So I would just want to encourage you to know that you have to work with your child to say, you need to behave or comply with this. And even though it's going to be hard for some of them, it's really going to be good for them. And then 4, simply telling kids to be responsible. Knock it off, be responsible. What in the world is that? They don't know what that is. And so that creates irresponsible kids. Page number 7. There's some fill in the blanks here that I want to give to you. There are other things that I can skip over, but I want to give this. Here's how responsible behavior is developed, according to research. Number 1, on the most basic level, responsibility is obedience. Obedience. And that's age 2. Obedience. Let's go back to a 2-year-old.